Hi everybody, it is Becca. I hope your week is starting off well. This is our weekly live video to kick off the week right before our challenge starts. So I think most of you probably know, but next week, starting on Monday, we're going to be doing a challenge where I'm going to be giving you homework and going live every day, Monday through Friday, with different techniques and different ways to deal with your perfectionism. And I'm inviting you all, I think you probably read this in the email, but I'm inviting you all to actually do videos, like post videos in the group, or if you just want to write out your homework and what you've been able to produce or what you've been able to do in the group, that would be wonderful and fantastic. I think it would be really good for everybody to see what everybody else is working on and also what everybody else is struggling with, because I know a lot of this is just feeling really alone. So now to get into our fun content, today we're going to be talking about mindfulness and a couple of the ways that it intersects with perfectionism. So I'm pretty sure that everybody here has at least heard in passing the term mindfulness. It's quite the buzzword these days, and it has been for a couple years. But I think the way that it's talked about in sort of like pop psychology spaces is not exactly how I mean it. And so I feel like sometimes it's helpful to go back over some of those concepts. Now, it's a pretty nuanced concept, like the idea of mindfulness and how to utilize it. I think requires sort of like layers of understanding, and we're only going to be going into one of those layers today. So with mindfulness, there are two things that I think are really important here. And number one is the idea of being able to try to do goal setting. So like reaching for outcomes and being able to be better and trying to make our world better and our environment better. And like, what are we doing if we're not reaching for some kind of goal? I think just as people who are alive, that's something that we're doing and that we're working on all the time, is there's striving. And then, beyond that, now we have like high achievers and perfectionists. I think even more so that's the case, right? Is that we're always sort of striving towards something. So how do we hold this idea of striving at the same time when we're holding the idea of mindfulness? Now, the way that we're utilizing mindfulness today as a concept is that it's basically being right where you are in the moment, and being able to notice. So like when you hear about like mindfulness in, again, those pop psychology spaces, a lot of the time what you're hearing is like grounding, like notice 5 things that you can see and 5 things that you can feel. And that's fine. And I think that probably does help for a lot of people. But we're really talking about getting a level deeper there. We're talking about authenticity, intuition, and actually noticing what's going on in your body and your mind. So what is happening right now? And then once you know those things, you can start deciding, well, which ones of these do I want to act on, right? A lot of the time when we're not being very mindful, we tend to be very sort of impulsive or reflexive, or we're just planning. We're just planning ahead, and so we're not able to be where we are in the moment. We're not responding to any of the information that might be showing up in our bodies. Now, I believe, and I've seen it borne out, so like other people have said that this is true as well, although it takes some practice to get in touch with these sensations, that emotion resonates in our body. So when we feel anxious, right, our heart rate might increase. When we feel angry, like our back and our shoulders might get really tense. When we feel sad, like maybe it feels like a collapsing or a sensation in our chest cavity or in our gut. And so like any emotion that we're having, and these are the intense emotions, so I think those are a little bit easier for us to notice. But I think as we start paying attention and as we start noticing, what we'll also notice is that there are more nuanced ways that emotions, like more gentle emotions, show up in or around our bodies as well. And so that actually is one of the keys, in my opinion, to being able to reconcile mindfulness and being in the moment and being in the present with this like forward motion and forward moving energy for goal setting and things of that nature. Because if you're just kind of blindly doing goal setting, if you're just thinking like, the example I use for this all the time is, someone who decided when they were like 3 years old that they were going to be a doctor. And then every single step of the way, they just did everything they were supposed to do. They did the step that was right in front of them. They knew where they wanted to go. But then they get into medical school and realize like, I don't know if I really like this. I don't know if this is really what I want to be doing, right? And so the problem there is that they weren't, hi April, they weren't showing up in the meantime every single step of the way to take care of themselves and notice, like, is this still something I'm passionate about? Is this still somewhere that I want to go? And that's what I'm really asking you to do. I believe, and this is like sort of the crux of what I'm saying here, that if you allow yourself to show up in the moment, if you allow yourself to really embody the present moment, there's movement in your energy. Your body will communicate to you, like you'll be pulled in certain directions. There's motivation there. We don't like staying stagnant. And if we're really paying attention to what our body is asking us to do, I really don't believe that our body is communicating, just sit here, right? I think a lot of the time our body is communicating like, I'm drawn towards this or that creative outlet. I'm drawn towards, I want to learn more about this, or I want to invest more of my time or my energy in this other space. And that when even if we have a goal of like, I want to be a doctor, right? For instance, and every single step of the way, we're checking in and saying, okay, what do I feel pulled towards right now? What kind of medical specialty, am I interested in? Is it dermatology or whatever? Then you take some steps, and if you get part of the way there, and then you check in again, and you're like, I'm learning more about this other stuff. Maybe I want to be like a PT or a physical therapist or an occupational therapist. All of the steps that you've done to that point are still going to help you. They're still going to support you. It's not like those things are just dead in the water and you wasted all of your time. But what it is now is that you're noticing the branching off points. You're noticing where the path splits. And then you get to choose with mindfulness, authenticity, and intuitive decision making, which of these branch offs do I want to take? Which one am I getting pulled towards now? And in that way, you get to sort of pull together. It's like the confluence of the mindful noticing and also the goal setting and the movement forward. So hopefully that is somewhat interesting for you. I think what I'm going to ask you to do this week, if you want to, is just practice noticing, practice dropping into your body every so often when you think about a goal that you set to, reach with your exercise, or a goal that you set in your relationships, or, whatever that goal is for you. I want you to sit in a moment of, is this still something that speaks to me? Is it still something that lights me up? And if so, how can I tell? And if not, how can I tell that? So that's what I'm asking you to do this week. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And I'm excited to talk to you guys more next week for the challenge. So you take care and have a good week.